The pandemic is still creating so many challenges for families right here in the Quad Cities. Many are now faced with balancing work and also remote learning. The Martin Luther King Jr. Center has a special program they are trying to help out, and the executive director, Jerry Jones, is here in studio with us right now to tell us more about remote learning care. So good to see you, Jerry.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Brand new program, so tell us about your remote learning care.
So this program is going to focus on Rock Island Milan School children K through 6 to support them during this e-learning time. We'll welcome kids in our building from a little bit after 8 o'clock to about 5 o'clock, help them with their homework, their school tasks, but also work with partners like Spring Forward to bring in enrichment activities to keep them vitally, actively engaged during this COVID time.
I was just talking to a mom today. Her son is at home learning, and she said he has to because she can't drive him to school. She watches several kids at home. So you're helping some of these families out, maybe a place for them to learn. But what kind of precautions is the center taking, and how many kids will the center take?
Sure, we're taking as many precautions as we know how to take. That includes constant hand washing, masks, socially distancing. We'll have a strict schedule so that we don't have many people clashing in common areas. We'll be outside as much as possible. And if it needs be, we will follow the Illinois Department of Health guidelines if we have a potential exposure.
Do you plan on continuing this program? We keep hearing about that first quarter, and we know so many people are staying home, whether they're doing the hybrid learning or all at home learning right now. Will this extend throughout the school year, or are you planning just now for the first quarter?
We're solid for this first quarter, but there are big ifs for the remaining school year. As this program runs longer than we typically are used to, there are financial costs and there are staff capacity considerations. But if we can bridge those questions, fill those gaps, we will have this program free to our parents moving throughout the second, third, and fourth quarters if necessary.
I'm glad you mentioned free, because that's something that a lot of parents right now are struggling with. Not only are we going through an economic crisis, we're going through the pandemic as well, and so they want to know what the cost will be. So what happens, and I hate to say it, but what happens if a case pops up there?
Well, thank goodness that we're going to have very, very small groups. We'll have our 1/3 of our capacity building, so we'll be able to isolate, hopefully, where this exposure happens. If it were to happen, we'll notify every parent immediately, but we'll likely close that section of the program until everyone's been quarantined for the recommended amount of time.
All right. Executive Director Jerry Jones with the Martin Luther King Jr. Center joining us live. It's such a challenging time for so many parents, not knowing what to do, having to work, having to care for their children too. So thank you for sharing this information. And Jerry, by the way, have a great afternoon. I know parents at home, we went through this very quickly. We tend to go through things very quickly when we're interviewing. So if you want to see this interview again, if you have any other questions, log on to our website. It's ourquadcities.com. Right there is the information. We hope to provide you with all the information you need if you're looking for information about this program. All right, coming up at 6 o'clock, by the way, we're going to talk more about this program, and we're also going to talk about the challenging times for all our parents out there. We'll dive deeper into this conversation because it is a topic that needs to be discussed.